Yo guys, welcome back to TPB, and as you can see we're playing Cardfight Vanguard and we're playing Nightrose. I'm trying to step up the content here, so got rid of the old overlay and we have a new one. Hopefully it's more satisfying. I think I got this wrong. Need to move this up a bit, right? Do I? No, I think it's fine. Move it up a bit. So you guys can see that like live, me changing that anyways. Gonna be playing Nightrose, as you can see. Standard format. I only play standard. And hopefully, if you guys enjoy these types of videos, I'm gonna be putting more of them out, which is really nice, really cool, right? Vanguard YouTuber, don't bully, please. We're playing Zeraora, who's playing Shadow Paladin, and he's got his Drag Wizard niece on his mulligan, but I can also see a Bastard Dark, which means that he's gonna be running the Phantom Bastard Dragon. I'm messing up my words. He's gonna be running the Phantom Bastard Dragon Superior Ride with Bastard Dark and Bende, which is cool, but it's less consistent now that you don't have the main. Anyways, he rides Nice, which means that he gets to check top 7. Unfortunately, I can't check right now. I don't think he gets any. Yeah, he just puts it all back to the deck and shuffles again. And he doesn't get his Leophile or his Draghard Luard. And you see he doesn't have his Luard there. So now it's my turn. I have a great hand here. It's pretty unlucky to draw into Skull Dragon, but I get my Dancing Cutlass. And I get to open with my Skeleton Sea Navigator, which means that I get to mill 5. And let's see what I mill out here. 2 heals, not great, but we get the Ghost Ship, which is great for next turn, and as well as a Skull Dragon. And Necrobone. Here we're gonna attack with 6k, which means that if you don't get a trigger, we don't give him a counter blast, which is awesome, and we do not. So that's gone perfectly. We get our drive, and we don't get a trigger. Anyways, even if we did get a trigger, we would have put it on like CNAF or Dancing Cutlass, you know. So make sure that he doesn't have a counter blast, and he doesn't have his Bende, which means that he can't Superior Ride, which is why like without the main, it's kind of weak. He drive checks another Bastard Dark, and I drive check into another Necrobone. Now coming onto our G2 turn, I have my perfect G2, my right target, my Columbard. We're gonna counterblast him, and I'm going to search out a card that I really love. Like, this is like a friend recommended me this card, and it's been so useful ever since I added it to my deck. I just run 1. It's like sort of like my tech slot. I get my Samurai Spirit out. It's a promo card. And we see here that its ability is to Soul Blast 1 and retire a Rear Guard. But completing the Columbard ability, we're gonna call out the Ghost Ship. We're gonna mill 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's a perfect mill. Like, it's not pieces that we need, but there's no triggers as well. So like we're setting the deck, you know, making sure that we got all of the unimportant pieces out, I guess. And we have 2 Necrobones to play with here, right? And also we do have a Dancing Cutlass in hand, so we can do quite a lot of things. I'm gonna call out my Greed Shade. We can discard my Skull Dragon, we can mill 2, and we can pick up a card. I decide to pick up my heal because, you know, for the defense, gotta pick up the defense. And yeah, so we have a setup to attack now, which is great. But like, we can do more, can't we? So we pull out the Samurai Spirit, we get the Soul Blast, and you get to retire. So we're gonna put out both of my Dancing Cutlasses out, making it ready for the call to bind another one and also to countercharge 1. So that went perfectly as well. So we're gonna put both out, we're gonna bind 1, we're gonna mill 1, we're gonna call it to Rear Guard. We mill our 30k Sentinel, which is not great. We want that on hand. Maybe for Greed Shade, but yeah, I didn't line up. But yeah, we get to bind the Dancing Cutlass, call 1, and counter charge 1. And we're gonna Hypermill here. We're gonna go for another mill, like thinning the deck, rushing him. We're gonna mill from 5 more cards. And right now we mill quite a bit of triggers, but that's okay. I had to play aggressively against Luard because I didn't know what was in his hand. I didn't know he didn't have a Draghard in his hand. But like, you have to play aggressive against Luard because like the longer the game takes, the more powerful it gets, right? It gets Oh, he gets 2 force markers every turn, 3 Fury Ride. So it's tough, and you know you gotta rush it. So we're gonna attack with 14k because Reach It has an ability. If your drop zone has 10 or more card, he gets extra 5k. This is pretty normal. He's gonna defend with his Blaster Dark, and now we're gonna attack with our Columbard. So this is a no pass unless no pass if you don't get a trigger, and we don't. We pick up a Negro Bone from deck. So that's pretty unlucky. But here we get a strong attack from Ghost Ship, and he just takes it, and we get to draw and retire. So we draw a good card there, 30k Sentinel, and we have our Nightrose for a ride next turn. So let's see what he does. He draws into a heal, which is unlucky. His hand has like 5 triggers, so that's not going well, and he's forced to ride his Phantom Blaster Dragon, which is pretty vanilla because like he can't Soul Blast a grade 3 out, you know, he can't Counter Blast Bundle Tire 3 rear guards unless he wants to hard minus. Like, it's really tough for him. And seeing that I'm really playing like fast, I'm milling fast, unlike, you know, you can play GB slow, but I like to play it fast. You can't really do much here. And like one of the only plays that he can do is, you know, he can call out his Abyssal Owl, but he can't even Soul Blast for the cost because our Vanguards aren't of same grade, so he can't even do that. So you know, he can call out his Abyssal Owl. That doesn't really do much. So this game is going pretty well. By the way, mid video, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. And as well as if you haven't liked the video, please like it. You know, it is what it is. We sell out sometimes. So, continuing with the video, you see here that he calls out his Abyssal Owl. He's gonna counterblast 1 for the cost, and he's gonna get a vanilla draw trigger. It's interesting that he runs that. I don't know what trigger lineup he runs, but vanilla draw, I guess he runs 4 draws, double 30k Sentinels maybe, something along those lines. But I don't do that in my Luard build, and I don't do Superior Ride in my Luard build either. He gets the wrong Luard, which is unlucky, and he gets a Charon. We don't get a defensive trigger, but that's okay. He attacks us with his Owl, but then we just, you know, we defend with Negro Bone. We need that in hand, in drop zone anyways. So that's our turn, and we get to ride our Nightrose. We get a Protect 1, obviously, because we are not a Protect 2 clan. I don't think any clan is a Protect 2 clan. Maybe Angel Feather. But yeah, we see here that we have tons of pieces in drop voids. We have the Negro Bone, already have the double skull, we even have 3 skulls. We need 2 though. And we have lots of options here. So you know, just thinking it out. What can we do? I have a really defensive hand right now, and I don't wanna like Negro Bone everything out. We can use Quick Shield as a discard fodder, I guess, to call out a card. So I'm just thinking, like, what should we call out here? And he's only at 1 damage, right? So I don't think we can go for the 4 skull kill this turn, since he's only got to defend like 1 attack. I have to do 5 damage, and I only have 5 attacks with 4 skull, so that's not worth it. I call my Ghost Ship over my Samurai Spirit actually, and I decided to go for another mill. You see here that it's very important that we get another Dancing Cutlass in, because what that allows us to do is we can use our Samurai Spirit again. We Soul Blast something else out. We just Soul Blast our grade 0 out, and we get to put our Dancing Cutlass back into the drop, ready for next turn to countercharge with if need be. So yeah, we've got our we got our drop set up and everything, and it's very nice. This is very nice, and like, I'm taking the time to think right now, like, would it be worth it to like get a Skull Dragon? We drop one of our defensive pieces, but I decided that it's not really worth it, so we're just gonna move our Ghost Ship up and we're gonna attack with it. Again, Nightrose gives an extra 5k to every rearguard that attacks, but in return you have to retire it after the rearguard attacks. So we get 29k from the Ghost Ship. It's gonna defend that with his 20k. He has lots of defensive pieces in hands right now, and like it makes sense to just keep Nightrose at low, because if you are at like 4 damage, 3 damage before the Skull Dragon turn, then it's really tough for you to just perfect guard like 4 attacks, right? So yeah, he's gonna put down all of his defensive pieces right now, and we don't hit the first 2 attacks. We're gonna counterblast 1 to get an extra 10k on our attack, as well as pick up 2 cards for a column. So we're gonna call it Ghost Ship, and we're gonna call out Column Bard, and we're going to search our deck for a card. I guess we can just pick up another Negro Bone, make sure it's ready for next turn, and then we can pick another thing. You note that we only have 1 Ghost Ship can drop, so we can't do double Ghost Ship. I accidentally make a misclick there, so you know we need to reset that. Don't worry about that. But yeah, we just call another Skull Dragon because we don't have another plus piece in our hand. I mean in our drop. Technically, Negro Bone allows your drop to be your hand, with a cost. Of course, you have to discard 1. But yeah, we get to call out the Skull Dragon, which makes for a powerful attack. He doesn't guard this one. We do our drive checks. We get a null draw, which is great because now we have 2 perfect guards, and we know that Luard has like 3 or 4 attacks, which we have a protect and we have a perfect guard, which means that we can guard all attacks. It's not like we need to, but if he does like rewrite Dragheart here, we would need to do that because all of his attacks are going to be too critical. So I can take 1 and then I have to perfect guard 3 or maybe 2, depending on if he calls Morfessa. But yeah, we draw into another Ghost Ship, which is kind of ironic. For our last swing, we're gonna attack with Skull Dragon, and yeah, he lets it through. He's at 4 damage. This is not good. This is not great. Like, he only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand, and he doesn't. He needed to top deck Dragheart here, so we can kind of tell that this is not the A game like for him. But you know, it's unlucky. He's not getting his pieces, and I got all of my pieces. But like we can see here, like a very fast Nightrose, and I think even if we had Dragheart Luard, we just would have had the same hand, but with like maybe more damage, less defensive pieces. I don't know. But like we can see here that a fast Nightrose is very doable, and it doesn't really give up much hand either if you have like cards that call itself from drop, like your Samurai Spirit, as I mentioned earlier, or a Dancing Cutlass. You know, you can call itself, you can call it, and then you rest it, and then you call something over it, or use Samurai Spirit to retire it again. Like, it's great. Samurai Spirit, Soul Blast 1, retire one of your other rear guards. Like, that's really nice. It also gets another 4k, but as we say that, he's gonna attack with his Vanguard. I'm gonna perfect guard that because I don't need to take the damage right now. He gets a critical trigger, and puts it on one of his owls. So he has another drag driver Luard, which is like not what he needs. I think all 4 of his Dragheart Luard is in draw. I mean, is in deck, which is not good. And now he goes into a deep think here, because if he gives me a counter blast, and I can countercharge 1 with my Dancing Cutlass, that means that I have 2 open counter blasts, which means I can use Nightro's ability to counter blast 1, call a Column Bard maybe, and then using the Column Bard, you counter blast 1 more, and you get another attack in another column. So he decides that that is not worth it to attack me 1 more time. So he's not going to give me a counter blast, he's not going to give me damage, but that's okay, because we can counter charge with our Dancing Cutlass. We cannot mill anymore because our deck is only 5 cards, and you know, if we run out of deck, we lose the game. It is what it is. So you have to there's like a thin line between, do I want to mill or do I want to like save? Because I've seen people deck out because like you go for this turn here, or I want to finish him off, and you can't, and like you can defend their turn, but like you can't recycle Negro Bone or whatever, and you just deck out, which is very unlucky. So now we're just gonna call, we're gonna use Negro Bones, we're gonna discard cards from hand, like our Greed Shade, we don't need that. We rewrote Nightrose, by the way, which gives us another protect. So we're just gonna refill our deck here, and we're gonna call Skull Dragon whilst we're at it. And now, as you can see, we have like a full back row, which is really cool and really powerful. And you see that Samurai Spirit here is 12k, 17k when you use it to boost Nightrose, but since I put my CNAV in the middle behind our Nightrose, I expected it to get retired first of all, but like since I put it behind Nightrose, I didn't want to retire it for the cost. I wanted to retire Colombard. But like if my Samurai Spirit was 17k behind Vanguard, my Vanguard is 22, so that becomes 39k attack, which is very powerful. And it makes your Vanguard line scary when your win combination is only Skull Dragons, right? So it makes your Vanguard attack more viable. But here we go for another Nigger Bone. We call out Tommy, the Great Researcher, because it gets an extra 5k, so that's 13k plus 5, 18. That's gonna be 40k onto the enemy Vanguard, which is still very powerful. But the reason I did that was to make sure I don't deck out in case he survives this turn. And I'm only gonna be able to attack 4 times, so that's why I was worried. But like the moment I knew I was gonna win the game was when I attacked with my first Skull Dragon, right? I went and just placed my attack. It's just an attack, like 1 critical and whatever, and he goes to a think. And as you can see, like when I was playing, obviously I didn't know his hand. As you can see though, like he only has 1 perfect guard here. So when I saw that he went for the hard guard here, I knew that I won and that he didn't have enough to defend the next. To defend the next like 3 attacks, right? We have 1, 2, and then we call another one. We won't be able to call our 5th attack. We're not going to be able to call our 4th Skull Dragon because we don't have set open counterblast, so that was a good play on his part. But like frankly, we don't need it. As you can see, he has 1 perfect guard. So like if he gets a heal here, then that's great because he can survive 1 more turn. And all heals will be active since I'm only at 2 damage, which is good play. Like it's a good situation on his part. So I'm gonna attack, and he perfect guards this one. For me, I would take the damage earlier in the turn in order to help me guard the next attacks. So like I take maybe if I get a trigger, I'm at 23k. It helps me hard guard the second attack. So that's what I would do personally, but he doesn't do that. And now that he only has 1 card in hand, we're gonna attack. And now that we know it's a Dry Driver Luard, I think I knew because I kept track of his triggers at the time. I don't remember though. I think I knew, but like we get a critical, he no guard save, we get a critical, and we don't get another trigger. He gets a Decron, and he gets a Miracle Heal, which is very cool. So he gets to heal out a card, and something pretty weird happened here. He puts back his Leofal, and he takes out Morfessa instead. He heals out Morfessa instead, which I guess he wanted Morfessa in drop, maybe to like recycle to the deck if he survives this turn. If he gets another heal, he will survive this turn. And we attack with our last swing, and we end up winning. The last damage being Bende, the card that he missed. So yeah, that was a good game. And that was a Hypermill Granblue. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you guys haven't liked the video yet, please like it. And I will see you in the next videos, I guess.